Welcome to Practical Access. I'm Lisa Dieker.
And I'm Rebecca Hines. And today, Lisa, we're just going to intro this season. What do we have?
You know, we're really lucky. I know it's been a tough year and things are a little bit unique in the world, but we are privileged enough to have in Orlando, which is where we live, by the way, in case you were wondering, not really in Orlando, either one of us, but near, the Council for Exceptional Children Conference this year. And so we're hoping to get some of the legacies in our field to come to Orlando to talk. So,
well, she says hoping. We already have some in the bag, you guys. So the exciting thing about this season is if you're a parent, if you're a student, if you're a teacher, we'll be talking to some of the names that you will have heard of or read about. And it's interesting because, as always, our goal is to bring in something really practical. So hearing people who normally talk on maybe a big picture scale, it's nice to hear some of their personal anecdotes and their personal observations.
Yeah, and you know, for those of you who don't know, 100 years doesn't seem super old when you think about the world, but it is exciting. This year, it is the 100th anniversary. I happened to, in a weak moment, decided to do a little more service in the field and am co-chairing the conference. And it's exciting because for those who don't know, and I'm going to be honest with you, Becky, I didn't know. I knew the story of Elizabeth Farrell, but I don't think I knew it to the level that I'm kind of learning about as I reach into, she really was that one person who said, wait, throw those kids away. And not only did she make a one-room schoolhouse, but she really started saying, why don't I make an organization? And one woman, 12 people later, and here we are 100 years later. And you and I both know CEC is kind of the staple for our field, and we're a go-to place for us and many of the people that we know and love.
Yeah, and at the risk of sounding like a promo for the Council for Exceptional Children, and it is true. It's the largest organization by far in our field, and they have other organizations within CEC that are really helpful, whether you work primarily with students with emotional behavioral disorders. Well, there's a CEC organization for that. And some of our guests this season talk about how to really get involved. But most importantly to me, they talk about really how we can all work together to serve the field.
Yeah, and I will tell you that I think the theme for me that I take away from the season is that influence of one person. So we hope every listener, no matter how big or how wide or how small your voice might be, if you're in one neighborhood or in one school or in one district or in a role at the state level, we hope as you listen, you'll take some advice, because these folks are really people who literally, as a person of one, made a big difference. And I think that's what CEC is celebrating with Elizabeth Farrell. One lady didn't really have resources, but said, you know what, this doesn't seem right. And I think it's an era, as we've always said, of social justice and change. And I think that's what this season is about. What can that one person do to make a difference?
Well, speaking of which, Lisa, since this is the question that Lisa is going to be asking people all season, like what's something from your career?
It's been a long one, you guys.
She's saying I'm old.
From your career, what would you say what's the cornerstone? What are you most proud of?
Well, get ready to answer that back as what comes to, goes around. I think for me, it's the personal story that I've been able to tell grounded in practice. And, I love research. I'm a little bit of a nerd in that realm, but I only love research that makes a difference for children and families. And I think my personal story has given me the privilege to have a louder voice than I might have had if I didn't have that personal story. And having that story combined with the privilege of a PhD and hanging around people like you, Trey Vasquez, Matt Marino, all of my colleagues that Whitney Morowski, that I value so much, taking what they know and saying, but what does that mean for my son, my siblings, my family, or more importantly, all the beautiful teachers and schools I've had the privilege to work with. So I think it's the ability to have the voice to turn research to practice with passion. Mm-hmm. And how about you? I cannot wait, because I can think of 50.
Know. Well, a good friend of mine, Eileen Wilkins, who is the head of a major nonprofit here, UCP of Central Florida. Eileen said to me once, in a collaboration, she's like, Becky, we have 100 ideas and we only we only really get around to one or two of them. And I'm like, Eileen, that's the point, man. You have to have so many big ideas to bring something to fruition. And it's something, Lisa, that you do really well. But I think I would have to say, I think I'm most proud of helping to build a truly inclusive school that welcomes kids of all abilities. And having had the opportunity to work here in Orlando specifically to build something concrete that you can see and you can walk in and you can feel kids being included in a really meaningful way. That's been probably my proudest achievement.
Yeah, I can't think of a school I'd rather visit on this planet. And no offense to all the other school districts in America. There's so many, but if you want to see as good as it gets in understanding all means all, I think, yes, Becky Hines, you should hurt your arm by patting yourself on the back for that. And I can think of a couple hundred others she should mention.
And Eileen and all the
Eileen.
teachers,
Yeah,
right.
you didn't do it by yourself.
Yes,
but
yes.
Again, it takes a seed and it takes advocacy, and you do that very well.
So this season, celebrate yourselves.
Yes.
Take a minute right now to think about all the things you've contributed, whether you're just starting out and it's just having a big heart for the profession, or whether you're a parent and your contribution really is in the home and supporting your own child with special needs. Take a minute and celebrate yourselves, and we hope you have a great time this season.
Yeah, so thank you again, Elizabeth Farrell, for reminding us of the story of one. If you have questions, you can tweet us at Access Practical, or you can send us a message on our Facebook page, Practical Access.